Welcome to this week's edition of the Wellness Lounge. In this week's show, we will talk with local doula Traci Weafer and introduce the Daily Drop. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And we're back. Here I have Traci Weafer, a local doula here in Montgomery, and we're gonna just have some candid conversations about what a doula is and the birth culture here in Montgomery. So Traci, thank you so much for joining me today. And I'd just like to open up and have you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and how you came to be a doula.
Thank you for having me, Tiffany. I appreciate it a lot. So how did I become a doula? Well, back when I was having children, Christopher is 28 and Emily is 27. They are very close together, and between the two, I realized in researching my own childbirth education, back when we didn't have computers, that our local childbirth education was lacking, and I wasn't getting the resources that I needed to figure out what I needed to do. I had a really good friend that actually was doing doula work here. It was a brand spanking new profession. I didn't know anything about it, and ran into her and said, this is kind of really what I want to do. I want to educate. I want to make sure that families have the information that they want, and stumbled across it being an actual profession, and supporting families and in birth and in the educational and emotional process, and I couldn't say no.
That's absolutely amazing. So for our guests, the people that are watching, why don't you just tell us a little bit, educate us on what is a doula actually?
A doula is a professional birth expert that just guides a family through an emotional, educational, and sometimes physical time through pregnancy and childbirth. We do really a whole lot of things. Doulas are not this one thing. We are very individual, and we have individual talents that we use through that, but the bottom line is we just really want to help families get the support that they need to help answer questions or get evidence-based information or have the physical support through their pregnancy and birth through communication or education, whatever that is.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So I know you're a native of Montgomery as well, as am I, but I have not lived here in over 30 years. So last year when
welcome home.
Right. So last year when I moved back, I was literally looking for other doulas, someone I could connect with that was a part of the culture already that could kind of help me navigate through. And you and I have not yet fully connected on the level that I'm looking to, but I can respect that you have a footprint in Montgomery here and surrounding areas. And so I really am thankful that you are here, because for me, it's really about the education around this work and the advocacy in this space that's missing or that's there, but you don't really hear about it, or people kind of confused about it. And so I'm looking forward to being able to establish many more relationships with other doulas in the area too, but more specifically with you to help push this culture forward, get the word out around the education and the advocacy that's really important. So having said that, tell us about, do you have any programs that you yourself are utilizing in community or maybe with professionals that you have found that are helpful in starting to navigate through some of these conversations?
Well, you mentioned advocacy, and that's like my main heart and my main soul. But as you know, as I was working with families throughout the years in Montgomery, I was finding that they were having a hard time communicating with their care providers, and they were confused on, you know, how to approach different things. And in Montgomery, we do have a high induction rate. We have a high cesarean rate. High meaning 34% cesarean rate here in Montgomery, which is high. The national average, the quality control is like 24%. So we're way over that.
Yes.
So, in developing, trying to figure out where, my talents fit the best, I really honed in on the belief system of families, which is called, and I developed a concept called keeping your power, and I trademarked it, and I teach it to everyone, and it's really a life concept. It's not just for pregnancy and birth, but it's, the foundation of keeping your power is, allowing somebody to really sit in their belief system and carry that through their pregnancy and their birth, and no matter who is with them. Because not everybody can hire a doula. Not everybody has access to a doula. So it was important for me to get information out there that everybody could use.
Yeah. And that's a very good point that you bring about. Number one, if they don't know about a doula, when you first mention it, you have to go through this whole education and exercise around what the doula is and why the doula is important, especially now in this time of COVID-19, when then there's a new norm around birthing, and specifically birthing in Alabama. And so I think last check we were, I believe, number 50 on the list out of all of the states. So at the bottom, but not at the bottom or at the top of bad ways to birth in America. And so it is important to me to be able to change the narrative around the whole birth space, specifically in Alabama around that. But the bigger picture for me are Black and brown women or families that are having significantly higher not so good outcomes because of this. And so having the conversations about what a doula is and why a doula is important, and why participating in a program such as Keeping Your Power is important. Whether you decide to hire a doula or not, I think is a great start for families to start to consider. So let's see, how about telling us how long does it take to go through the Keeping Your Power program? Is it a couple of hours? Is it weeks?
It is all online. So for consumers, I focused on consumers first, because really my business model is consumers and professionals, and I focused on consumers first, and had 4 families that really pushed me forward and helped me kind of develop it. And it's all online. It's all an all online class. Now everybody that comes across my path gets it anyway. But I put it all online, so it probably takes a good 3 hours. It takes a good afternoon to do it, because there's a lot of downloads, a lot of things that I go through with communicating with a care provider, making sure you're with a person that you need to be with, making sure that you are that you recognize your value. That's first.
Yeah.
Everybody has value, and we forget that sometimes. I mean, we forget that, what I think matters, and that's the power.
Especially during this time, when you're pregnant, especially if it's a first-time pregnancy. Excuse me. The moms may feel a little bit intimidated, whether it's with a physician, an OB, or a midwife. They just really maybe don't understand what's about to happen, the full scope of it, nor the appropriate questions to ask.
Yeah.
And if they have some pre-existing conditions going on, they may just be focused on those, but not in the greater picture of what this outcome may look like. And so I think your program is a great segue to helping them, kind of fill in that gap of having more information and feeling empowered when they go before their care providers for the actual care, and understanding what it is that they're walking into. Because it's great. We're all like, oh, yay, we're pregnant. Then we're like,
now what?
Now what? Right? And so tell me what a day in the life of the doula looks like for you, right? Because I know you offer a lot of different things, but is it a pretty kind of cookie cutter is not what I want to use. Is there like a standard way of a process that you go through to interview, right? Because not every client's for you. I'm sure there's probably clients you're like, I'm probably not the doula for you, but I can refer you, and vice versa. So is there kind of a triage kind of process that you go through?
Sort of. Yes and no. Anybody that walks across my path, any inquiry that I have, my main goal is to get them to meet their need. And if that's not me, that's going to be somebody else. I make completely sure that I can meet the need that I'm seeing come in. So, yes, I interview people to just make sure that I'm going to give them what they're looking for. And if I feel like I'm just not the greatest person for them, or, now being 23 years in, I do a lot of, VBACs, which is, vaginal birth after cesareans, and higher risk birth that are, more emotional or more of a journey, and a lot of education through that. But, so yes and no. I'm just trying to figure out, where they need to go. What does my calendar look like? Because I don't, just jam pack it full of people, because I don't feel like that is fair. When somebody hires a doula, that's their right-hand person. That's their tour guide through the, Brazilian jungle of trying to figure out all the information that they're trying to figure out. So for me to be able to give somebody 100% of my time, I'm making sure that I can block off that space for them. But once you're in my family, because people do become family, I mean, you're diving deep into people's lives.
It's a very personal space. Yeah, it's a personal space.
I warn people. I'm getting ready to know you intimately. And so in that, I want to respect that they're coming to me for trust. And let's talk about why people usually hire doulas. They are afraid.
Yeah.
They don't know what they don't know, and they are searching for somebody outside of the system that does not work for them. And tell me about this, because they're not getting from the system their needs met. So they're looking for outside resources, and I take that very seriously. And so my calendar is not, so there's that. And then everybody has to take a childbirth class. That's non-negotiable. So yes, I do have some things that they absolutely have to jump through hoops to, because when people hire doulas, this is what I want for my birth outcome. Well, how are we going to get there?
Yeah.
So these are the things that you have to do to set yourself up for success. It's not just a doula walking in a room. Now, there are some statistics that are fabulous that said it was only just a person sitting in the room, that was not a staff member and was not a relative. But it's, as far as all the educational and professional stuff that a doula brings in, is all the extra stuff that people just don't get. And the trust is there. There's just such a trust issue that happens with that. So when you're mine, you have to do some things to get into a really, really good position. And then, we just make sure that they are, every doctor's appointment that they go to, or every midwife's appointment they go to, they're feeling heard, they're feeling supported. You're the most important person. What you believe is what you believe, and nobody should question that. And what is the most important to you during pregnancy and birth is going to change. Like it evolves. Somebody doesn't make a decision on what their birth looks like at 12 weeks and then it carry through.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't.
Yeah.
We grow through that process.
And we'll continue more of this conversation after the break.
Want to spotlight your church, business, or organization? Reach your target audience, raise awareness, or broaden your reach? The Wellness Lounge offers several business opportunities across all our platforms, including television, digital, online, and on-show appearances. Television is still an excellent way to connect customers to your business, and digital offers opportunities to scale your brand and reach customers in a way that is in real time and increasingly personal. The Wellness Lounge offers affordable options for business and organizations of any size. And right now we're offering a special promotional rate for all new advertisers for the month of August who want to appear on the show or promote their event, services, or products on our digital platforms. For more information about advertising opportunities on the Wellness Lounge, email the Wellness Lounge at info@drtiffanytaft.com or visit our website at drtiffanytaft.com.
And we're back. So Traci, we were talking about earlier, you really getting to know your clients and becoming a part of the family. I think the one thing I like about getting to know my clients is the fact that I feel like I can make them feel comfortable about opening up in ways that perhaps they don't open up, either with their partners or with other family members. And so I can imagine that your practice is probably similar in that way. And like you said, being a doula, depending on when we find out, about their pregnancy or when they hire us to be their doula, we can be with them for a short time or for the whole entire pregnancy. And so becoming a part of that family, literally, you get to know people's birthdays and their good and bad days. And so has there been ever significant challenges, I'll say, with maybe mom is on board with the doula, but not the partner? And how do you kind of navigate that situation?
I would say early on, everybody learns. I would say early on, I didn't know how to doula everybody. And that's what it is you are not only making sure that your time and energy goes into that birthing person, but everybody that she loves around her that wants to support her.
If I just meet with the mom first, I definitely let her know that I'm going to want to meet with the partner if there's one in her life, or whoever she believes will be her support through this process, so that all of us have an understanding. But for them to know that I'm not a replacement of the family unit, but I am there to provide information and education and options for them so that they can make informed decisions, which I think is super important. And like you said, a lot of us go by what our mom or our grandmothers did and birthing now.
It's what I call falling into the system.
Yeah.
And people just don't know what they don't know. Mm-hmm. So you get a pregnancy test and you do what your mama did. You go to the doctor that your mama went to, and you do what your doctor says.
Yeah.
And, what people don't understand is our doctors are our medical advisors. Our medical advisors, they're not for emotional support. They're not for really any physical support, because they're so ingrained in that tunnel vision of the medical parts of pregnancy. So they fall into the system, and so people just don't know what they don't know. And that's why I think our jobs as doulas is even deeper than, hey, I want somebody to be with me during my labor. That's scary in itself. Mm-hmm. But for us to really help them understand that there's deeper levels to education in pregnancy and birth. And you have rights, and you have options, and you have all of the stuff that you can do, and it's not just about routine practices in the hospital. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So do you see similar practices if they were to have a midwife versus an OB? I know I'm thinking with a midwife, the process will be a little bit more gender. Of course, they have relationships with OB doctors and with hospitals too. But the approach in and of itself is different. And so have you noticed a difference in your clients that, and I imagine now maybe clients even have both a midwife and an OB because they just don't know what's going to happen on actual D-Day. So just to have options.
So locally, we have certified nurse midwives that are in a shared practice with OBs that are very autonomous. They work on their own. They even have their own building. So the medical model of care, yes, is just very medical, very, very standard, very routine. This is our schedule. I mean, they could probably hand out a list of this is what week this is what we're going to do in what week. And there's no question. But what people don't know is they don't have to do these tests if they don't want to. Is it a benefit to me to take this test is supposed to be the conversation, but rarely is. But midwifery care is more holistic. It's the whole body thinking. It's the health thinking of nothing is wrong until it is. We're not looking for anything to be wrong because pregnancy is normal. It's a physiological thing that happens. Spontaneous labor happens. But the OB care, they are trained in emergency medicine. They are skilled in surgery, and we're thankful for that.
Yes.
But if you are a low risk person with no health conditions, nothing going on, and you're just pregnant, then midwifery care might be a better option for you. Do I see a difference? Absolutely. Absolutely in the outcomes, because induction is not discussed as much. Cesarean is not discussed as much. Looking for something to be wrong is not necessarily a thing. But we have to remember too that healthcare providers, even midwives, have seen a lot.
Yes.
Pregnancy and birth can go awry at any second. So PTSD rates are really high. So I know that there are ultimate concerns and comfort levels that some providers will have because of some trauma that they've had. So we have to pay attention to that too. But overall outcomes with my clients with the midwives have been, pretty low key, pretty uneventful. And I would say even my OB births have been great. Maybe a little bit more stumbly, roadblocky, but the outcomes have been fantastic.
Hopefully this was very helpful for anyone that's watching, and even if it's not for you, if you say, oh, I'm past the childbearing age and that's not for me, I'm sure there's a woman or a girl in your life that it may be for, and it's just something that she can investigate for herself and for her family to see if it's an option. So I encourage you to start a new narrative, to change the story. We in Alabama specifically need to have different conversations. We need to stop just having meetings for the purposes of having meetings. We need to do things that are going to change and have different and better outcomes, not only for those that desire to be doulas, not only for the OB doctors and the midwives, but more importantly for the moms and the moms of color. Black moms and other moms of color specifically that are dying at significantly higher rates. So I encourage you to get the answers. If it's not for you, it's not for you, but it is someone in your life that can benefit from this. So thank you so much for joining us in the Wellness Lounge today. Please, each one, teach one, and share the information. So in today's Daily Drop, I'm going to introduce 2 new oils to you. We're going to talk about tea tree and citronella. And because it's still summer, these are amazing oils to use during the summer. Citronella, you may have heard, is great for insect bites. It smells amazing and it's a citrus blend. So for citronella, it comes from the leaf and is found in Asia. It is as a pest repellent, for cleaning surfaces, for emotional uplifting and stress relief, and also can be used on the skin and the scalp to soothe and to boost energy. How many ways can you use this oil? You can use it topically, you can ingest it, and yes, you can also diffuse it for a nice citrusy smell. The oils, by masking the human fragrance of the insects themselves find it very appealing. So this is why those insects won't bite you. They're too busy trying to get a bite of the oil itself. So when inhaled, the citronella promotes a happy, positive feeling. And when you apply it topically, it can soothe any of the skin and scalp from itchiness. The next oil that I'll talk about is tea tree. This one you may also know as melaleuca. So the tea tree oil actually comes from Australia. You may know this oil or have used this oil for things like acne. It's anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial. It calms any redness you may have, any swelling. So if you were bitten by an insect, you could certainly put this oil on top and it would help to reduce that inflammation. It prevents redness from acne scars, and it smooths and clears the skin. So you could also actually put this in your skin moisturizer or a lotion to help get rid of the topical bacteria you may have. So it'll be cleansing and anti-inflammatory, but any swelling you may also have in the skin. So the oils together have an amazing smell. I will say the tea tree smells much more medicinal, meaning more like medicine, but together it gives off a sweet aroma. So you can use them individually or together, whichever is your preference. So if you'd like more information, please visit our website at www.drtiffanytaft.com and visit the Wellness Boutique.
Want to appear on the Wellness Lounge with Dr. Tiffany Taft? Email the show at info@drtiffanytaft.com, or you can hit us up on Facebook or Instagram at Dr. Tiffany Taft, or visit through our website at www.drtiffanytaft.com. And to view past shows, visit us on our YouTube channel at Dr. Tiffany Taft. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Thank you for visiting the Wellness Lounge, and please remember to follow us on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, and our new YouTube channel at the Wellness Lounge with Dr. T. And of course, visit our website at www.drtiffanytaft.com. And always remember, be well and be informed.